Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends enjoyers, enthusiasts, lovers, haters, and addicted fools. Welcome back. It's been a hot minute, but today marks the start, relatively, of us covering League of Legends again. Now, this isn't to say I haven't really played League, although I have not played a lot of League because we're in the off season. We basically had like a month plus, excuse me, of almost like no news and nothing really happening, and that's because even though there's no preseason now, even though we don't get the changes ahead of time, there is still PBE as always. But they basically kind of leave like a month where instead of getting us the changes, we kind of just sit with the old stuff, but nothing really gets updated. So for a whole month, we had downtime, which I very much appreciated because I got caught up on other things. But it's finally time again. It's January 7th, which means the start of the new year, which means a whole shakeup to League. So, for those of you who don't know, this season of League is going to be very different. Now, Riot always used to tease, right? You know, they have to do this. If they don't do this, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, right? They're going to say every year, next year is going to be the biggest year in League. No way, wow. You know, they're always going to try and hype it up because they have to. But this one seemed really, really interesting. So they said, and I always quote them on this, Riot said this year, 2025, you know, because it was during 2014 or 2024, they were saying this. They're saying 2025 is going to be the year of League of Legends like you've never seen it before. And, you know, I've kind of heard these words before, but I bought into the hopium and I was pretty excited. Now, the biggest thing people were assuming was that voice chat was coming into the game. Now, voice chat's already in the game in pre-made parties, but they were hoping game chat was going to come in the lobby, like in the actual Summoner's Rift with the randoms. We didn't get that. Although Riot is always taking steps to kind of curb toxicity and this and that, which I think they've done a massive amount of work towards, despite if it's good or bad, because there's negatives that came with it. We are in a very less toxic league in general. But even though it's still memed on that, it's a very toxic game, and it sort of is. It depends what lobbies you're in. But either way, this is where basically their solution to the new season was, you know, and we were kind of getting into a lull. I think for the past couple seasons, they kind of were shitting themselves. They're like, okay, well, we updated the map. Okay, what's next? Okay, well, we updated the runes. Okay, what's next? Okay, we updated the item system and then reverted it. Okay, what's next, right? And then they did like a combination of like, okay, we'll do half the, you know, map with the dragons and then half the items again and this and that. And there wasn't really anything like big. There wasn't anything monumental that they really changed for a hot minute. And then fast forward to today. So the new method to the madness of League of Legends from Riot Games is basically going to be, they're doing splits kind of, where every year we're basically going to have three main seasons, right? And you can see with the patch notes too, they're redoing how they do it. So last season was season 14, I believe. This is technically season 15, although they're not calling it that anymore. They're calling it patch 25 season 1.1. So season 2 is going to be the second of the 1/3, and then the last one is going to be season 3 of the 1/3. So it's going to be kind of like three mini seasons, but not so many. So the first theme that we're getting is Noxus. Obviously following off of Arcane. If you saw the music video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about too, because it kind of spoils it. But League lore is finally actually moving forward, and I hope the shows are gonna come out faster because I really want to see those too. Even though I haven't seen Arcane season 2, but essentially the League lore is actually moving forward, and we are getting lore. I'm assuming with these new seasons, because again, this is all about Noxus, and in the lore, that's where we're kind of focusing on now. Noxus is where the stuff is happening, and they have a lot to work with too. They have Mordekaiser, they have LeBlanc, Darius, Swain. I mean, Samir's a little bit mixed in there. They can mix in Demacia too. We might go there after. Who knows? Season 2 could be Demacia, but for right now, we're settling on Noxus, and every season, and you know, this is going to come with its controversy, right? I haven't even seen the changes yet. I know a little bit of them, obviously, but if you didn't know, this is going to be a long patch notes video because it's the first of the season. It's the major one, and we have a lot to talk about. But one of the biggest things that they've changed, and hopefully we'll see it here, is that they changed the way the passes work and the monetization. Obviously, they're pushing now more towards this stupid thing called the Sanctum. So if you go into loot here, instead of going to your loot originally in the Mythic Shop, right? Ideally, when you hit this, you're going to go to crafting, and wow, oh wow, look at all my crafting shit. Whoa, Eternals, wow. You know, I'm like a dragon, I'm hoarding. But when you first click on loot, you go to this thing where they offer you the the gotcha skin for $250 essentially, which, as you can see, I rolled a little bit. My friends gave me some rolls too, but sadly I didn't get the Jinx skin. But these skins are another topic. But yeah, going forward though, these exalted skins, a new tier of skin, which is above ultimate, which ultimates have been kind of sucking ass, are coming out now, and I believe the next one is set, and the set one I heard isn't that good either. But essentially this is kind of their new way to do loot. I don't think the chests are going away. I do think the chests are getting harder to get, but the main thing is with the passes, right? And also the Mythic shop did get a little bit of an update. I think things got decently okay with the shop. Not much is too different. Although the biggest thing with the shop that I dislike is they took out the ability to trade Mythic Essence for chests. So that was really bad. That's very anti-consumer. It's very suck ass. And sadly, I don't think they're going to change it back. And there was no reason to take it out. They said it wasn't actively utilized, which, sure, if it's not actively utilized, you don't need to take it out because it's not like they're running out of space, right? It's a scroll reel for a reason. But regardless, that's the main thing that is bad with the Mythic Shop. Everything else, obviously, they're cycling more stuff. We have chromas too, and then we have icons, which if you buy these, I'm going to make fun of you unless you have an excess like me. But this is where a lot of the new monetization with the new season that's coming out is basically pushing towards everyone's favorite thing, gotcha. So basically, League is becoming gotcha, and this is where they're not even copying gotchas technically. They're sort of copying TFT because it was in TFT first, which ideally got it from gotchas too. But either way, the new season is kind of under a lot of scrutiny because for free to play players with the pass system, and this is going to take a lot of explaining. If you know what I'm talking about, if you've played the passes, it's going to be a lot easier. And I'm not going to sit here because, we're going to take 3 hours at that point to explain the whole pass system. But essentially, the passes were infinite and you got tokens. And with those tokens, you could decide what you wanted to buy. You could either buy the prestige skin, which some people liked, some people didn't, or you could use it to buy orbs, which gave you random skins. And there was random orbs which would give you certain grab bags. It's based on luck, but it was fair, right? A lot of people complain saying, "Oh, we basically only have time to grind either the skin, the prestige skin, or the orbs," which I think is better than what we're getting now. So now with the new system, and you could grind it infinitely, so theoretically there were psychos out there, like me, who could grind the prestige skin and get orbs if we so wanted, but we basically had choice. Now with the new pass system, right? There's always going to be a pass online, which is good. There's almost no downtime. The passes are longer, they're double in length. There's no downtime. They are technically infinite, but the main issue is there's no tokens anymore. So there is an ending to the pass technically. I think it's tier 50. And once you get to tier 50 after that, you can keep grinding it for extra blue essence, but therein lies the problem. It's blue essence. No one really cares about that shit. There's a reason there's a blue essence emporium. So realistically, in a certain way, this is actually good, especially for people like me, where there is a definitive stopping point now, where I could keep playing if I want to, and it won't be completely useless. And oh god, what's the right word? Completely inefficient. But in another way, what they're taking away from us is the tokens, which is essentially taking away our choice. So now when you buy the pass, right, you are going to get a unique skin that they say, quote unquote, will never come back again. It is a skin tied to the pass. You cannot get it again. And you will also get the prestige skin, and you will get some grab bags, and I believe some orbs, I think. But you cannot earn tokens, so at the end of the day, if you want some of the stuff in there, like the limited skin, but you don't want the prestige skin, oh well, big whoop, you have to get that, and they're taking away your choice, which I think is always a bad thing. And it's the same thing that happened with the Mythic Essence shop as well. They took away your choice to use Mythic Essence to get a random skin shard. I don't know why, but regardless. Well, I know why, but let's not be too overly negative. Because this is, there is going to be a lot of good changes to the season, I think. But essentially, they're changing the pass system, which I think is overall worse. They also changed up the rewards to where a lot of free-to-play players now, good luck getting a legendary skin. You basically have to eat shit and pray to the gods that you're going to get something. But regardless, this has been a long time coming with the way they've been doing monetization, especially with the mythic chromas, quote-unquote, which are basically just recolors of skins, but they're actually charging you a lot for it through gacha. We've seen this coming. But essentially, the new pass system is not that good. It's good for some people, and especially for ARAM, it's good too. Basically, no matter what you play, you're going to progress through the pass, which is nice, but the pass is overall worse, especially for free-to-plays. But either way, let's get into what we're seeing. So, let's read the shit, but we've already seen a preview of the skins too, because I've seen the music video, and some of them were in there. And that music video, that cinematic, absolutely fucking goated. Amazing shit. If you want to see my reaction, go see it on YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching this anyway. But let's get into it. So, welcome to Noxus. Ooh. It's 2025, and we're starting it off strong with our first themed season of 3. And also, every themed season, we're going to be getting one new champion. I don't know how this is going to affect ASUs or VGUs, but at the very least, we're going to get 3 new champs a year now, which it's fine if they slow down, especially if they update older champs too. But 3 champions a year is not too much. I remember back in the day, man, we used to get like 5+ or some shit. I think. My old man brain might be a little out of it, but I believe we used to get a lot more. But it's fine if they're slowing down, because this game does have a lot of champions, and not everyone can be meta. Excuse me. My whole philosophy, though, towards balance is there should be times where everyone is good. Even if they cycle it out quick, there should be a time where at least someone has their limelight. But either way, let's get into it, because again, this is going to be a long one. So it's 2025, we're starting off with our first theme season, Noxus. Coming with it, we have a good amount of big changes, and they're not joking here, like a fresh coat of paint for the map, which they always like to argue, oh, we hand-painted it, we handmade it, we can't put skins in. The community does it for you, bitch. And then they ban the community that does it. But regardless, this is where they say one thing, but the community proves them wrong. We should have had map skins way earlier, and we have been getting it for ARAM, obviously, with Bridge of Progress and Butcher's Bridge way back in the day. But now it's finally coming to Rift, and we have had different Rifts before. I believe we had a snow one at some point. Obviously, we had like a little moon themed one, but I haven't personally seen this one and how different it is. But I'm sure the community content vastly outweighs it in terms of how cool it is. But let's keep seeing. So we have a fresh coat of paint for the map, a new epic monster named Atakan, which I believe is related to Mordekaiser, but I don't know. And a new system called Feats of Strength, which is interesting. I've heard a little bit about that, but again, it's been over a month since I've basically covered League, so I'm a little rusty. We've also got some smaller changes, like a teleport revamp, which I kind of know about, and I'm curious to see how this is going to look. I think you literally fly over the map, but let's see. Minion adjustments and a few of your usual gameplay balance changes. I think they're going to go light on the gameplay balance changes, but let's see. We also have quite a few changes that will be coming to you off the Rift 2, like Fearless Draft coming to Pro Play in Season 1. Multiplayer practice tool, which is a huge big thing people have been asking for. And a brand new queue system called Swift Play. So they're taking a page out of Valorant with that. It's basically going to be like a mix between ARAM and Summoner's Rift, where it's basically a quickened version of the game. And this is very interesting, and we'll talk about it more when we get to it in the patch notes, but because I got to make sure they're doing the same stuff they said they were doing. But it's a very interesting thing where it's the first time on Summoner's Rift, aside from like a limited time game mode, where you can experience a different version of Rift from what the pros are playing. But either way, let's keep going. Thanks for coming to Noxus with us, and we'll see you on the Rift. Good luck with your climb. And then obviously they have TFT patch notes. And despite me loving TFT, I've actually really gotten back into TFT with full force. I'm for now not going to cover the patch notes, although I will click on this and take a look at it maybe later on stream. But yeah, no, I'll leave that for a little later. I'll leave that for a little later for the people live. But either way, let us keep going. So, patch highlights. These are really small. Also, in terms of nerfs, they basically have nerfed essentially nothing, but there is adjustments which usually are nerfs. And then they buffed Twitch of all people, so I'm curious to see what they did. Systems, those are way too small to really see, but I'm sure we'll get to them. And then we have the new skins. So we have Mask of the Black Rose. So again, it being Noxus theme, one of the biggest things in Noxus that has relatively remained untouched since basically Briar/Scion is the Black Rose, which is led by, I believe, LeBlanc. But these skins are really cool. We're going to see them in all their full glory later on down below. And I'm really curious to see who the Prestige is for. I hope it's for someone I use, but we really got to see. I hope there's some good legendaries too. My biggest qualm with all these, Exalted and new skins coming out, these new tiers of skins, is the main issue is I think they're taking away from the quality and they're lowering the quality of legendaries and ultimates for the common people. Because just from a business perspective, right? What would you rather invest in? A $250 skin or a skin that costs people $10 to $15? It's pretty obvious, right? Because usually the $250 skin doesn't require much more effort than the $10 to $15 skin, but it's going to get you way more return. But either way. So we have Samira, which is nice, another Samira skin. Renata, I'll go over these at the end. I don't need to know them yet. Okay, cool. So, Fearless Draft. So, this is, I believe, for Pro Play, which I'm a little bit into, but not too much because SKT keeps winning. So, let's see what they're doing. And NA is a clown show. So, let's see. Our Tier 1 leagues around the world are moving to Fearless Draft format for the first professional split of the year. Fearless Draft is a restriction in the best of 3 and best of 5 matches where champions... Wait a minute. Where champions cannot be picked more than once in a series, regardless of the team that picked them. For example, if a team picks Yon, he'll be unavailable for both teams in the remaining games of that series. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. Wait a minute. Oh my dear God, this is crazy. Oh my God. I really hope they don't go back on this. I really, really hope they don't go back on this. This obviously, I mean, I can make a whole fucking hour-long video on this, but oh my God, this is so crazy. Hold on. There are multiple reasons why we're trying out this new drafting mode. First, we want to increase the game-to-game variety in professional play. If there was any way to do it, it's this. Holy fuck. Making games more distinct from one another and hopefully making them more entertaining to watch. See, when they say hopefully, that makes me think, and I already kind of thought this before they even said this, the biggest thing with League that I keep saying is they keep switching things up. Now, overall, things have improved, but don't take any of these changes as permanent. I mean, look at the mythic item system, right? We thought that was going to stay, but they axed it. If things don't work, they will change it. They outright will. I think this is very, very interesting. Now, the main thing I'm a little sad about is you can't see multiple games of, like, your favorite pro player on their, best champion. Like, let's just say you want to see Faker's LeBlanc or something, right? Or Faker's, maybe not Azari, his Silas, right? Or his Akali, better yet, his Akali. If he has a game with Akali where his teammates just pick horribly and there's no synergy with Akali, that was his only shot. Now, granted, that's mostly on the teams. They can't be stupid anymore. But I think this is a great thing in terms of variety. Overall, there is negatives. Like, again, right? You might not get to see your favorite pro player play their favorite champ in the best team. And they have no more, retries. It's a one-and-done thing for that set, at least. But I really, really like this. I think this is insanity. This is really good. But they will change it if it's a problem. Now, who's it going to be a problem for? If it's a problem for the fans, they're instantly going to change it. If it's a problem from the pro players, I doubt they're going to change the thing. But let's see. So, second, we want to give more room for players with unique champion pools to showcase the hundreds of hours they've spent honing their craft on atypical champions, giving players stronger identities. Third, we're hoping that reduced pressure on pro-focused bouncing will allow champions tuning to better serve league players. And this is true. So at the end of the day, if there is an OP champ, they can't keep picking it. Because that's what ends up happening in pro play. They either have to perma-ban one thing or perma-pick one thing. That completely gets rid of this. This is like such a good change. It's actually insane. This is like an S-level like change, like a calamity level change. This is so fucking good. Oh my God. Okay, so anyway, they're reducing pressure on pro balancing, blah, blah, blah. So even if you aren't a pro, our goal is that you'll see some benefits from this change as well. And I think we will, because they don't have to go as hard as these people, because it's a one-and-done thing. You either, you're picked, and that's it. You get your one time in the light. So the nerfs would hopefully be a little bit lesser, which might be a good or bad thing. We'll see. Be sure to catch the opening games of the season. We're excited to see what our pro teams cook up in Fearless. And I'm excited. A lot of people who only have like a small champ pool, beware, man. These pro players actually have to play the game now. Good. So either way, Noxus invades the Rift. When I see this, I don't see anything really Noxus related. I wish they put like a giant thing in the background or something. But again, all the community stuff, like I said, is going to trump this easily. I'm not related to Donald Trump at all, but, it really is going to be, like, lackluster to what we could get from the community, sadly. And this is where they've already started also monetizing, like, Rift finishers and this and that, which is interesting. But, if someone else pays for it in the game and you have a different one, how does that work? I remember they explained it, but, at the end of the day, if someone buys it and you don't have it, you're going to see theirs anyway, so why really buy it unless you really want to? And I don't necessarily mind them monetizing the shit out of League as long as they put it back into stuff that some free-to-play players could get, and as long as the game keeps on doing well. Because we did get stuff like Anima Squad and Swarm, basically for free, and that probably costed them a pretty penny, and we basically got funded that from the Faker skin, so let's be real. I think while it is getting more and more apparent that they are monetizing the shit out of the game, I think it's fine. But again, just from looking at this map, I don't see anything crazy. Like, maybe if we zoomed in, sure, but this to me just looks like Browner Summoner's Rift, maybe like Halloween fall themed Summoner's Rift. So, not even Halloween because there's nothing scary. So, more just fall season Summoner's Rift. But either way, the first thing you'll notice when you load into the game is we've brought you to Noxus. As part of the season, we want to make sure the connection to the entire theme doesn't end as soon as you hit the play button. We want to take advantage of League's deep well of stories and lore, which they're not joking about that, to carry the immersion of the Rift and League's gameplay. We crafted these maps, visuals, updates with an emphasis on maintaining competitive integrity. So again, that's kind of why they can't go too crazy. Competitive integrity. So whether you're at home or playing on the professional stage, you'll expect a fair playing field. Noxus has taken pretty much over everything. The minions, the turrets, even the shopkeepers. Cool. Noxian war turrets will blast minions and champions, spoiling some new targeting animations similar to what you might have seen in the ARAM map update, which I think is great. I think they really should either sell it to us or give it to us for free. Hopefully for free, but realistically sell it. And they just have like an option to have everyone's maps can be specific to them. I think that's really cool. If they did that, or make it on like a rotating queue sort of thing. The shopkeepers are dressed up in the snazzy garb of the Masquerade, and the minions look like they rolled right out of the Immortal Bastion itself. We want to change the entire map to keep some of the familiarity and push the differences in some of the biomes. For example, the blue buff and river zones retain the lush forest vibe, because there's not really lush forests in Noxus, but that's fine. Bases are going to look more like we might find around the outskirts of Noxus Prime, and these updates will remain through Season 1, with another journey coming in Season 2. So one of the things I wish they said is how long these things are. Obviously, you can look it up, and it is out there, but I forgot, and I'm kind of sad it's not here. But either way, let's keep going. So cool. So here's the new Rift monster, Atakan. So it's sort of like a mix of... It's not as good as Baron. Like, it's not as powerful as Baron. It's basically like almost a mini Herald. Because Herald lasts from like, what is it? 13 to 20 or 15 to 20 or some shit. This is basically in that same time zone. I don't think eventually it stakes around, but I think maybe it does. But I know it gets upgraded. I know it depends on how good the team is doing and how many people die near it. But this is a very interesting thing. And again, more things to shake up the game, the better. So let's see. So this season, we're adding an entirely new epic monster. Not... Oh, wait, no. Is it epic? That's the big ones? Because epic is, I think, red and blue buff tier. Either way, epic monster to the Rift, introducing Atakan, an ancient demon of bloodshed and violence. Oh, wow. So he actually does spawn at 20. Holy shit. So he spawns at 20 minutes. And I think you can only kill him once. I think that's the thing. But let's see. And can appear in the river close to either top or bottom. Okay, so he switches. Which side he spawns on depends on which side has seen more killing, basically, by 14 minutes. At 14 minutes, Atakan's pit will spawn, and 2 permanent walls will carve out his territory, signaling where he'll be appearing. So you basically know and can get ready. This isn't all there is to Atakan. The amount of champion damage and kills done will also affect which form he gets, because there's 2 forms which do different buffs. From what I remember, I thought one buff was really ass. I thought one buff was good, but let's see. In a higher action game, you'll see Ruinous Atakan. If you manage to take him down, your entire team will permanently be granted the effects from all epic monster rewards, and he'll leave behind a field of blood roses. Ooh. What are blood roses? In addition to Atakan, we're adding a new plant. They act as a minor but permanent bonus you can take for your own team and deny the enemy team. They grant your entire team a small amount of XP and permanently stacking adaptive force. They can spawn before 20 minutes, and do so around areas where champions have died, which is pretty cool. I actually like this. It's similar to the cinders that spawn from Fire Drag, but again, they're more permanent, which is nice. In addition, as a reward for killing Ruinous Atakan, that's where they spawn too. So the other form is going to be Voracious Atakan. Basically, he's hungry. And if you manage to take him down for your entire team, you will be granted a temporary one-time death mitigation buff, so you're basically getting free GA. Similar to GA, except you'll also teleport back to base. And a permanent increase to gold from champion takedowns, which should help give teams the extra push to take that team fight. So, this is interesting. Excuse me. So, I don't fully understand the Ruinous Atakan buff, but we're going to read up on it. So, Voracious. Upon taking down Voracious, the team that slayed him gets permanent 40 bonus gold to champion kills, so you can snowball a little harder. One-time GA for the next 150 seconds, so it is on a cooldown. If they would die, they instead get put into stasis and return to base. Cool. When this happens, the would-be killer instead gains 100 gold and 1 blood petal. Nice. So when they say one blood petal for their team, is that shared across everyone so everyone gets one adaptive force? Or I thought it was only for them. But interesting. I wonder if all the blood petals are like that. But either way, Ruinous. Upon taking down Ruinous, the team that slayed him receives 25% increase to all epic monster rewards for the rest of the game, including rewards that already were earned, which is insane. So I love Ruinous. Ruinous is my favorite one. 6 bloody petals immediately, and then 6 large and small blood rose plants, which is crazy. So blood roses and petals. Each petal gives the player that picked it up's team 25 XP, increasing by 100% based on their KDA, with lower KDA offering more. And 1 to 0.33 adaptive force. Petals can be gained primarily through hitting a blood rose. A large one drops 6, while a small one drops 3, although it can be obtained through other ways like Atacan. Interesting. So, is the adaptive force for their whole team? If it is, that's kind of crazy. So let's see their insight. With Atacan, we want to create an important gameplay objective that allows players to participate in more shaping the story unique to each game, which is cool. Anything more to be done, and this is where they run the risk where for new players this might become overwhelming, but over time, you know, it's a complicated game anyway, you'll learn it. But for existing players, I think this is very exciting. This game really isn't that and you know, it did get better, but this game is really not that appealing to new people, man. There's so much to fucking figure out. It's a really complicated game. And it's just getting more complicated, even though they have dumbed down a lot of things, like the jungle. But either way. So they want to create okay. Both actions, their choices to fight or not, and where and when they do, will determine Atacan's location and form. Our goal is for this to ultimately let players actively create more variations. So I don't think that's really going to happen. I think it's basically just going to be like, okay, you did this, here's what happened. So it is going to show the effect of stuff, but I don't think this is going to actively going to be like, oh my god, I want Ruinous Atacan, let's just kill, super gank. You should be doing that anyway. I don't think people are going to play around that. I could be wrong, though, but let's see. So, as a minor side note, in order to make room for Atacan's Rift Herald's spawn time has been pushed back to 16 minutes, and Baron Nashor's spawn time has been pushed back to 25. Those are huge changes. Holy shit. We want the games to last longer than they do today, which is... Oh, wait, no, they don't want that, actually. And we'd make changes if we see that's the case. Typically, teams aren't taking Barons at 20 minutes, which is true. So we think there's room for another powerful mid-game objective that's more realistically claimable in Atacan, which is cool. I actually like that. Some teams can't take Baron at 20, but it's a little rare. They're not wrong. Alright, so, finally, the biggest change, because they did say that once you basically get your base neutered, it basically feels like shit. You feel like you're just a sitting duck, and unless your inhibs respawn, you're basically open to just getting backdoored and fucked, which is true. And they said they don't like that. So, even though they're also saying they don't want games to last longer, or at least maybe from this change specifically, they don't want it to last longer from the pushed back stuff, other stuff I think they're doing is pushing back the game no matter what, because it's giving you more opportunity to kind of hold out. Just like this. Just like inhibitors, Nexus turrets will now respawn at full health after a set amount of time, which I think is good because it seems like, I don't know if we're going to have this problem again, where they're going to have to solve this, but it seems like we are getting more and more powerful yet again. I don't know if they're going to have to do another durability update, shave away a lot of the power, because at the end of the day, taking things away that they give us feels really like shit. But let's see what they're doing. So, they respawn at full fucking health, and they'll have the same properties good as new. Our goal with adding respawning Nexus turns was to help reduce the amount of games that feel hopeless just because your base was neutered. It felt like you were delaying the inevitable when you needed to contest a game-winning objective. See, this is where the enemy should be rewarded for neutering you. I mean, it basically is over at that point. But if you ace them, I've seen a lot of games where they had an open Nexus, and we've still lost. Now, it's not the majority of games, but there has been a lot. But I've also played like over 10,000 games of League, so it makes sense why I've seen a couple of those. But it's not like it's impossible, but I guess they're making it easier. So I think this is okay so far, but let's see. But yeah, no, the main issue is, like, if you have an open Nexus, you really can't go out of base, and then the enemy can just farm all the map objectives and then just slowly kill you. So it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But either way, when you need to contest a game-winning objective like Baron or Elder, which is true, but not being able to leave the base without a Shaco or a San backdooring to win the game. Very true. If you're able to fend off backdoors for a period of time, you won't have to babysit your Nexus, thank God, and longer, and can get back into the action. Cool. So basically they respawn after 3 minutes. I think that's a little soon, but yeah, we really gotta see it. Alright, so I think every season they're going to have like some sort of gimmick. And obviously I think Atacan is kind of permanent. I don't think he's leaving at the end of Season 1. But I don't know what feats of strength they're going to do. I don't know if those are stay, if they'll leave, and I kind of forget what they're going to be. But let's see. So, Noxus is coming to the Rift and bringing the feats of strength with it. So that implies that it'll probably leave with Noxus as well. This is a new system replacing the gold bonuses from First Blood and First Turret, while adding a third feat of strength for teams to fight over. Monster Slaying, which requires 3 epic monster claims to complete. Whichever team first completes 2 of the 3 feats of strength, which is First Blood, First Turret, and Monster Slaying, wins the feats for that game and will have their Tier 2 boots upgraded to triumphant versions. Interesting. It really feels like, despite the Nexus turret change, which, you know, does help teams that are on the losing end, it really feels like this is just going to be like a heavy-ass stomping. Like, if you're good at macro, I feel like macro is so much more important now. Which is kind of crazy. Back in the day, Dragon just used to give gold, man. Now you got all the souls, and then you got all the other shit where you have to keep track of now with the feats of strength. There's a lot of things, and the petals, and Atakan, and then Herald. Like, there's so much more jungle stuff and stuff to keep in track of, where overall, you could just, like, even if you're winning in lane, you could still lose the game, I think, a lot easier now, which is crazy. But either way, so triumphant versions later in the game, the feat-winning team will have the opportunity to upgrade their Tier 2 boots to Tier 3 by spending gold, so it's not for free. They must have at least 2 legendary items, so this is more of like a mid to late game sort of purchase. We have several goals for the feats of strength. Guiding players in the early game to accomplish goals with their team, which is, again, stuff you should be doing anyway. I don't think, you know, at the best case scenario, this might push people to work together more and do these things more. Not that they know it's more important. But at the end of the day, they should have been doing these things anyway to win. I guess now it's just more apparent. So, mixed feelings about that. But either way, you should be doing these things anyway. But either way, guiding their team, removing some gold that was snowballing individual players too hard in the early game. So they really are extending the game out. And giving players a fun way to access boot upgrades. We're looking for feats to guide the way the teams play throughout the early game and represent a small concrete advantage for the mid and late game. So, triumphant boot upgrades are free and are immediately granted to any Tier 2 boots that the team that won feats. Wait, so can the team that lost it still get it, but they have to pay? If you don't have Tier 2 boots, you'll receive the upgrade straight out of the shop, so no worries there. Wow, so you can save a lot of gold here. Holy shit. Here's the list of all the boots bonuses. So, Greaves get... Oh, this is nothing! So Greaves get a little attack speed, Lucidity gets a little bit more haste, more pen, more armor, magic reset. Yeah, this is really nothing. This is not that much. Wow. So either way, the following upgrades are purchasable upgrades that can be bought by the feats-winning team when they have 2 legendary items completed or more. The stat increases are relative to the above one. Wait, so the triumphant boots are there for everyone? I'm so confused. Because these are the triumphant versions, but then there's like better ones, but you can only buy those if you win the feats of strength. But I thought if you win the feats of strength, you get the triumphant ones. No, okay, I'm a little confused. Either way, I think you get the triumphant ones if you win the feats, and then you can further upgrade them. So these originally were nothing, but these look interesting. So you get more attack speed, more movement speed, and then you get even more decaying movement speed. That sounds fucking broken, personally. Crimson Lucidity, oh, I like the names too. So Crimson Lucidity gives you more haste, more move speed, and then more move speed that's decaying if you do shit. Cool. So Sork Shoes gets more pen. Wow. It gives percentage now too. That's actually broken as shit. Wow. Armored Advance. So after you take damage, you... Wait, what? Oh, you gain a shield. Damn. Okay, so... That's pretty strong, holy shit. And then Chain-Laced Crushers, aka Merc Treads. You gain another shield, except against magic. Fair. Swift March. Increases your total move speed by 4% that multiplies all other forms of move speed. Wow. It's really, really strong. Holy shit. And I always say this, move speed is a very undervalued stat. Well, not undervalued, but it's sleeper OP stat. This is crazy. Forever Forward. So Forever Forward... Well, out of combat, increase your total move speed by 10%. You are going to be flying. And then Cassiopeia. Wow, I'm actually surprised they remembered Cassiopeia, but she is Noxian, so it makes sense. Cassiopeia cannot buy boots, so when her team wins the feats, not fates. Instead, her passive is upgraded from Serpentine Grace to Triumphant Serpentine Grace. So now she gets a little bit more move speed. Cool. Alright, finally. Holy shit, man, they're changing so much. Alright, so Teleport. What are they doing to Teleport? So Teleport, over time, realistically, has gotten more powerful as player skill and knowledge have increased over time. It really has. Like, instead of Ignite, Teleport is so much more useful. It doesn't have a clear weakness since the winning player in lane uses it to push the advantage and the losing player relies on it as a fallback. So it's good in both scenarios. while both also benefit from the ability to move across the map within a few seconds. I mean, biggest thing they could do to nerf it already is just have it on like a range, I think, but they're not going to do that, I don't think. In the current state, teleport significantly stifles action and lanes through its low cost as a reset button, while we think more of the power should be in later uses that provide map impact and benefit solo lane influence for the rest of the game. So this is kind of where bot lane was taking it, mid lane was taking it, top lane was taking it. The only person not taking it was the jungle, and even then, sometimes they would. It really depended. As of this patch, teleport will no longer instantly blink you after the channel. Now, you will visually travel across the map. And I really want to see how this looks. I imagine it's sort of like ASOL W, which would be hilarious. With teleport moving slower and unleashed teleport moving much quicker, the new mechanic allows us to tune how effective teleport is at returning to lane in a way that doesn't feel as bad as nerfing its channel duration. So I wonder if they make you like a little ball of light and you just like slowly roll over there. Or like, you know, fly over there through the sky. Either way, now that early teleport has a long travel time, we're reintroducing its early capability to target wards and minions, which is pretty good. So now basically you have a more telegraph thing of, okay, you know they're coming. Because before you would still see that they're coming, but it was pretty quick. So they're making just everything a lot slower, which again, I think is extending the game out even more. Even though they said they didn't want that. So, in addition, home guards will now kick in from the beginning of the game, although it's in a weaker state. That's actually really good. You used to only get home guards if you died. Now you're just getting it, which is speeding up things a little bit. Not as much as it was before this, but it's not making it as slow, essentially. This is intended to reduce the difference in time it takes between walking back to lane and teleporting so that early game pacing still feels reasonable. So, initial channel duration is a little bit lower, but now it's an untargetable and unstoppable dash. So think like maybe a Kali E, except not as fast. So travel duration is up to 8 seconds. Travel speed is 1,000, but will go faster if total travel time would take over 8 seconds. The cooldown is lower. Unleashed teleport travel speed is a lot faster. Unleashed teleport cooldown is now unchanged. Cool, I don't know why they put that. And then the movement speed is now 50% of total bonus move speed for 4 seconds. So you have it for a little bit longer. So overall, it's a nerf, but they are compensating a little bit. And I think this is going to be cool. I do think teleport was kind of strong, so I actually don't agree. I don't disagree with this. Oh my god, there's so much fucking reading. But we expected this. Hopefully there's not going to be another this long reading in the next patch notes, but we'll see. So, minions. We're changing some underlying minion and turret rules to make early game laning less punishing in worst cases. So, again, they're making it kind of, in a way, more, I don't want to say beginner friendly, but stupid people friendly. So, let's see. We want more matchups to feel playable in the very early game, as optimal play can create situations where the disadvantage lane has no winning moves. There was times, and especially this is a problem in low elo, if the enemy laner knows how to freeze the lane properly, and your jungler doesn't know how to unbreak the freeze, you're basically fucked. You are basically fucked. There's nothing you could do. You just lose. You just straight out lose. And it happens from the early game. At that point, you should have picked a better champ. You should have done better. Who knows? But again, they're making it more fair, but in a way sort of less skill expressive. And it's the same thing they did with the jungle, and now they're kind of moving it to the lanes, which is interesting. Either way, the disadvantage lane has no winning move, simply waiting to get tower dove on the third wave, while hiding under a tower that doesn't protect strongly enough. First up, minion waves will now clear each other out more quickly. A small decrease in early game HP and a significant increase in damage to other lane minions means minions will die faster, and the average size of a minion wave that reaches the turn will be smaller. So if you know how to do wave manipulation, you're kind of getting nerfed. Because now your knowledge is kind of useless. Not as useless, we gotta see, but you're definitely not as good. Which is sad, because wave manipulation was a very advanced tactic. I really liked it. The changes in damage should make last hitting minions and their overall damage to champions and turrets feel similar to before. Cool. We're maintaining the health of total minions at around the 6-minute mark, as this is when some champions start to unlock one spell destruction of caster minions, but otherwise we're scaling them longer into the late game, which is the thing they said they didn't want to extend. 10% of the Summer Drift games reached the 38-minute mark, which is crazy, it's that small. But having minions scale beyond that point, mostly in terms of health, ensures they're still able to tank for you and push into enemy base. Minions really didn't matter at the end of the day, that late in the game, but I'm glad they are getting some buffs there. Because we don't want them to steal the show, the minion scaling is still capped, especially in the case of canon and super minions, who now stop scaling at 90 minutes instead of up to 7 days? Not including the FlyQuest minion that's scaled in our hearts forever. I don't know what they're referring to, but it's probably obviously with pro play, but that's pretty cool. Okay, so minions are getting slightly tankier later on in the game. That's basically what we can get from this. And the first cannon minion is now at wave 4. Wow, so you do have to stick around in lane. So usually what would happen is people wait till wave 3, especially in bot lane, because I'm an ADC main, obviously. And that's what I care about. And you would basically go back after Caddy Wave to, like, do your buy, get your shit, and reset. Now you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, which might open you up to more ganks potentially. But we got to see. I don't know if they're touching the jungle, but let's see. Either way, typically everything's getting tankier. Minion XP range is a little bit larger, which is cool. And they're doing more damage to each other. And the ambient gold now starts a little bit less. Cool. Functionally, everyone has 20.4 more gold. Nice. Interesting. So some things are speeding the game up, but a lot more things I feel like are slowing the game down, which is interesting. Turrets. Okay, this is pretty small. We're increasing the PvP power of turrets, really raising their max damage when heated up and increasing the duration they can remain in that state. I think later on in the game, turrets did not matter. And you could see it in Pro Play too. They don't care for turrets at all. In the early game, they kind of put the middle finger up to them with all the dives they do bot lane. But especially in the later game, someone tanky, the turret is a joke. Like, the turret is like a feeding champion. It's something you don't even worry about. It's actually crazy. So I do want to see turrets get a little bit stronger. They shouldn't be too strong. Tanks should still have value, because I really do feel like tanks get the shit under the staff. Not as much as assassins, though, but still. Let's see what they're doing. Making them protect allied champions more strongly in tower dive scenarios. We're also softening turn fortification, the buff that makes top and mid lane turrets take less damage early game. Even if top and mid towers can't tower dive the opponents as easily, we like if they could strike down the turrets and farm their plates for gold. Okay, so it's a give and take. So even though the turrets are getting stronger, you can take them down a little bit easier, aside from bot lane, which is the exact same. So the heat damage is now going up by 50 instead of 40, so it's going from 220 to 250. That's pretty good. The duration is 5 seconds, which I think is fine. And the fortification damage reduction is going from 85 to 50. That's a huge change. Holy moly. So yeah, turrets are weaker, but they're stronger. They're weaker in terms of tankiness. They're stronger in terms of power. Nice. Champion bounties. We're simplifying the bounty rules for champions who are underperforming so that players can more easily understand how champions got their bounty states. So basically, it would be really confusing if someone had a bounty if they were just farming and had no kills. I mean, it wasn't that confusing, but I guess to other people it is. Who knows? Excuse me. We'll no longer be ignoring the first negative 50 gold and negative bounty states, which means that O1 and O2 champions will tend to be worth less gold than before. So you can't just farm someone to no end. In order to roughly equal the total value long term, we're also slowing the rate at which kills, deaths, and assists affect base kill gold. Positive bounty shutdowns are unaffected. So basically, if you're feeding, you're not going to be worth this much, which I think is fine. That's basically it. Swift play. So let's see Swift play. So this is very interesting. Swift play is coming to League of Legends in select regions with patch this one. Swift play is a faster way to experience authentic Summoner's Rift that's focused on letting all 10 players experience their champion's fantasy within a game of League with the same skill test, but doesn't punish early game disadvantages nearly as hard. So basically, it's a faster ramping league. And the main way I understood it, and it looks like it's going to be the same way, is in ARAM, you get higher gold per second, right? Usually you're getting passive gold in Rift, but it's not that high. In ARAM, you're getting passive gold, just generally faster. And you're getting free gold if you miss last hitting too. And in ARAM, it kind of makes sense, right? You can't share the CS with 4 other people. Well, you could try, and most people don't even care to, but you get enough gold from just the death that you don't need to last hit. But either way, I'm wondering like how much they're going to make it, how powerful they're going to do it. But let's see. This means making sure everyone gets a chance for their champion to lane, teamfight, scale, and test their champion's limits. So I'm curious if this is going to be popular. Anything that helps the casuals and anything where it's like shorter, I think is really liked, where you can leave basically whenever. So I think that's one of the reasons why ARAM is so fun. Number one, it's random, but number two, it's decently quick and it's easy. Anytime you make something easier and more casual, I think more people are definitely going to like it because casuals make up the majority. So either way, the initial release in these regions already have an unranked Summoner's Draft queue option besides Quick Play, so normal draft. Quick Play has been replaced with Swift Play in the following shards. NA, and all the rest. Cool. So this is very interesting. I wish they would tell us more, and I'm not going to check out the dev blog. I think I've done that over a month ago. But I'm definitely going to try this shit. I'm really curious to see like how well it feels, because the quicker games of League are, the better. And typically the biggest frustration people have with League is if you're losing, or if you're having a bad time, if you're stuck with bad teammates, one of the worst thing is you're stuck in there, you feel like a fucking prisoner. Like you're just in there and you're suffering and it takes so long. So the less amount of time you're suffering, the better it's going to feel. And again, in ARAM, if you're getting smacked, it's at least going to be quick. In Rift, it could be a 40-minute fucking slogfest where 30 to 20 minutes is just you miserable. And then it's like the ADC fantasy, right? ADCs get shown the entire game, and then they have like their 2-minute team fight at the end where they feel like a god. And then you win the game, and then, okay, you basically suffered for 30 minutes to have 2 minutes of fun. It's a little sick, but it is what it is. Either way, though, let's talk about the ranked season. So, this is where I'm going to have to start playing ranked again. So, it's going to start on the 9th, which is in 2 days, which is on Thursday. During the short ranked season cooldown window, ranked queue will still be up whenever Season 25 Season 1 is available, but the progress won't count as per usual. Apex dual MMR restrictions will be temporarily disabled. Cool. And they'll be turned back during the second season. Seasonal ranked rewards tracker has been sunset. Oh. So now the whole like point system they had where you either had to get gold or farm like 1,000 like ranked points or whatever, I guess that's gone. I didn't even remember this, or I don't even know if I knew this. Ranked victory skins requires 15 ranked wins. Oh no, so it's not as See, I'm a little scared because now it's not as exclusive. But let's see. Solo, duo, or flex, or a combination of both of them. Starting with Season 1 2025, a ranked mission will be there to track the number of wins achieved for players' clarity of rewards eligibility, but the reward itself will still be granted at the end of the season. Wow. Chart transfer service will be temporarily disabled, so you can't transfer to another server, which is fine. Same as every season start, players will be reset with Season 1 2025. However, as mentioned recently, this will be the only reset we have for the whole year. Wow. So even though we're going to get new themed seasons, this is the only ranked reset we're getting. So I'm really curious, because the way it is now, right, if we go to profile, right, and you can see my nice little profile here, if you go to ranked, are they retiring all these rewards? Because if they are, that's another way that we're getting less as free-to-play players, right? Because at the end of the day, most of these rewards kind of suck ass, right? Like, okay, cool, chest is good, keys whatever, random ward skin no one cares about, fragment is ass, this is ass, fragment's ass, ass, good, ass, relatively, this is decent. This is pretty good, at least to me, but if you don't care about Eternals, this is ass. And then finally, a Masterwork. So if they're getting rid of all of this and only giving you the Victorious skin, that is a little saddening. That is a little depressing, if anything. But either way, let's keep looking. Again, it seems like it's getting worse for free-to-plays, which is sad. I think, yeah, okay, so that's basically it. So let's keep going. And finally, champion changes. So these are quote-unquote adjustments. So let's see. I don't really want to say too much here because, again, I haven't played too much Rift. I've been mostly playing TFT and ARAM, mostly TFT. But I'll say generally what I think. I think Ashe is good. I think she doesn't scale as hard as she used to, sadly. I don't know if it's the items or runes or whatever, but I feel like she could use a little bit of a buff. Ashe's update this patch has 2 goals. Well, what are they doing? They're passive adjusting her and then Q damage and attack speed increase, so they're buffing her. We like to reduce the extremely high power that she has in early levels. Yeah, no, early levels Ashe is annoying. A combination of one of the highest function level 1 attack damages in the game and permanently slowing her targets can create situations where a single mistake means she runs you down. Yes, and in the early game there's very little counterplay because it's a math check at that point. If you know it, you're good. And it's really exactly like they say, you either flash or you die. We like Frost Shot always benefit instead of sometimes a hindrance. Even with 100% crit chance, Ashe would never get any bonus damage from her passive, since it only applied if they were already slowed. Volley's changes are simple power shift, meaning it's weaker at level 1 but stronger than before at level 5, regardless of build. So let's see what they're doing. So the damage is now getting straight nerfed, which is sad because that's what made her really good late game. It was very consistent damage, and it was even more damage than I believe IE would give for some other people if she built full crit, but let's see. So now you're always slowing them though, which is interesting. So the slow itself isn't going down. So I don't know why they're saying, this feels bad. I mean, they are lowering the damage, sure, but maybe that was the problem. The problem was the damage, not the slow, but I think it's the opposite. But either way, now you're always slowing no matter what, so that's interesting. So the damage on the Q is getting slightly buffed, and the attack speed is getting buffed too, which is great. And the W volley is now... Oh my god. Oh, because it's bonus AD. Okay, so yeah, they said the math. It's basically better at level 5 and beyond. I don't like that she's losing a little bit of damage. At the end of the day, she's losing 15% damage, which I don't think is negligible. But we gotta see. I already think Ashe isn't too good too, because she doesn't build full crit. She likes to build blade too. And there's so many clips I've seen where an Ashe is fighting like a Mundo or a Cho'Gath, and she looks like she's tickling them. Where, historically speaking, I've known Ashe to do the opposite. But maybe those are just for the videos. Who knows? But I don't necessarily like this Ashe change. I think they should have just changed the slow to be not as oppressive early, but who knows? It feels like they say one thing, and it's the same thing with the late game versus pushing out the game sort of thing. They say they don't want games to extend, but most of their changes are extending the games. They say they don't like Ashe's ability to slow you early, so what are they doing? They're reducing her damage, but now she always is slowing. It's like, what? How does this make sense? Again, it's not as much of a math thing now. Now you might lose the math check, but still. Oh boy, another ADC change. Whoopee. So Callista is pretty bad. I really hope they buff Callista. But Callista isn't terrible. If you have a coordinated team, she's really good. I think in pro play she's maybe a little bit of an issue, but not really. But I really hope they buff her. Let's see what they're gonna do. And with the new changes to Fearless Draft, hopefully they really do buff her. Dashes are now more resilient to slows, mana regeneration increased, Q damage and mana cost nerfed. Oh. And E damage decreased early. Okay. So similar to Ashe changes above, we'd like to reduce some of Callista's extremely high level 1 to 3 power. I mean, to be fair, she is that type of champion. I think she kind of falls off a little bit in the team fights mid game. Late game, she's not like a giga carry, but Callista can hold her own surprisingly enough. She's not like Apex tier, like S++, but she might be like at the top of A tier, at the bottom of S tier to me, personally. But either way, and I'm talking about late game only, but either way. On the nerf side of things, we're reducing her ability to QE poke by nerfing Pierce's base damage and mana cost. That's fine. We're also nerfing her all in power by nerfing the first few ranks of Ren's bonus damage. That's fine. On the buff side of things, we've rebuilt Martial Poise's logic for dash speed. So Martial Poise is the passive, for those who don't know, and that's the most important part of Callista. That's what makes kind of Callista, aside from the E, aside from the ult. So, Callista's dash speed calculation is now a complicated beast that factors in her attacks per second, bonus attack speed, dash distance, and move speed modifiers, plus some extra nudging to keep it from going too slow. So they now favor Callista in more situations. It partially ignores attack speed slows, doesn't put as much weight into move speed slows, and now gets faster with bonus move speed. So one thing I will say that I think Callista players all notice is when you're dashing around, when you're dashing and autoing with the passive, you're actually autoing slower. After a certain point, if you get a certain amount of attack speed, it's actually more DPS if you stand still and just auto. Obviously, if the enemy's in range, right? You will actually hit more if you're standing still and autoing rather than if you dash and auto at a certain point. I don't know if they're fixing that with this, but we gotta see. It sounds like you're just gonna be able to move more and not get as slowed. Let's see. The result of her dashes are slightly slower in very early game, slightly faster late game, and much faster when affected by high potency slows. We've also given her a bit of a late game mana regen to make her a little easier for novice Callistas. Wow. Who don't know how to use the E right. So her mana growth is up. So Martial Poise. Dash calculation rebuilt. Trust us on this one, and I gladly will. That shit is probably a mess. So base attack speed not properly referenced. This is a buff of around 8%. Attack speed factor. Influence of attack speed now has been halved. Attack speed increases still have full influence. So basically, the slower your attack speed is, the less you're getting affected by it. Because realistically speaking, her dash was basically affected by how fast she was shooting. Up to a point. Move speed, multiplier, 1 minus... Jesus Christ, okay. I'm not reading all that. The minimum multiplier is 48%. The typical close to 100%, but not benefit. Okay, whatever. Dash animation, restore closest dash animation when basic attacking. Cool. So the Q is getting slightly nerfed by 10. That's fine. The mana cost is getting slightly nerfed by 10. That's fine too. The E, the damage per additional stack, is now going to be slightly higher, but scale slightly less. I think this is fine. I think Callista's fine. I think overall this is probably going to be a buff, especially with the passive, but we have to, as always, try it out and see. Damn, are they just changing every ADC? What is going on here? So Twitch, what do I think of Twitch? I think Twitch is a pretty good ADC. He's a little niche. I think he's not as popular. And I really liked AP Twitch, but sadly it's not that good. It's still usable, but I missed the time when it was meta. We finally had some variety in the bot lane. Bot lane, for the most part, is very boring unless you're playing champs, which ironically enough is up next. Like Varus, Ezreal, maybe Callista. So basically you have on hits, which is like Callista, a little bit of Ashe, and Kog'Maw, and maybe Varus, right? Then you have like the weirdos like Varus who could do lethality, and then you basically have the crit people. So it's crit, on hit, lethality, or whatever the fuck else random shit you want to do. But for the most part, there's not a lot of variety with what build you're gonna go. If you're going crit, you know, you maybe it can like swap out 1 to 2 options, but it's pretty set in stone. So Twitch being AP and that being fun for a little bit was cool. Same thing with Zarya when she first got released. You were able to go Bruiser Zarya, which was something we never saw before, and was absolutely completely fucking broken. But regardless, let's see what they're doing in Twitch. Twitch got a minor buff last patch, putting him at a reasonable power level for AD builds. However, way back in 42.92, we gave him a preemptive AP nerf, which now doesn't make any sense because I guess it's not that good. So his percentage is going up with the with the W. I thought if it was with the E, we were about to be back with AP Twitch, man. But sadly, it's not. So the slow is a little bit better if you're building AP, and the slow really is oppressive when you build AP too. That shit is no joke. But yeah, slightly better. This is nonsense. Varus. What are they doing to Varus? Varus is interesting. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He sometimes goes crit, which is probably one of his more rare builds. Lethality is pretty up there, and then I think on hit is like second. But let's see. Base mana decreased, Q cost decreased, W damage increased, E mana cost increased. Like with Ashen Cluster, we'd like to make Varus' super early laning phase feel more interactive. Hail of Arrows is an extremely long range and reliable poke tool. I believe that's his E. Especially when combined with undodgeable systematic damage from Comet and Scorch. So it's early game cheese, basically. While Varus has very good reasons for his E being long range and reliable, mostly for popping Blight on fleeing enemies, we can price that spellcast such as it requires those Blight stacks to be worth casting, so we're shifting his mana constraints to let him play around Piercing Arrow much more. So spamming Q, which again might bring back lethality. But let's see. Which has higher quality gameplay around dodging and hiding behind minions, and relegating Hail of Arrows to a more situational skill. To further create room in the early game, we're also stretching out Blighted Quiver's bonus on-hit damage. I believe that's his W, but let's see. So his base mana is down. His mana cost on his Q is down by like 15. The W on-hit damage is more, which is great. And then the cost of Hail of Blades is 10. I don't know why they wrote all this, but Varus is, I think, personally a little bit better, but cool. So, items. Bloodletter's Curse. So I believe this is a new item. It was in Arena, and I guess they're just bringing it here. AP Bruisers like a pen or shred item with stats that feel good for them. So I'm wondering if this could be used on Gwen. We're bringing over Bloodletter's Curse from Arena to accommodate that need. We adjusted the stats, created a recipe, and slightly modified the rules so it can be healthy to exist. It's expected that some non-bruisers such as Brand will also like this item, but we're okay with that as long as champions such as Mord and Gwen, hey Gwen, feel good building it. So it's ironic, because there's two groups of Gwen players. There's the people who go full AP, like me, and then there's the people who go Bruiser, who used to be me. So let's see what this is doing. So it's giving you 60 AP, it's giving you some health, some haste, and dealing magic damage now reduces their MR by a little bit. So this is honestly better for the team, and that's typically what you're playing Bruiser for. You're not playing Bruiser to carry unless you're absolutely fucking broken, Fiora. But I think this is a great item. I think this is really good. Mord is going to love this shit, I hope. But we'll really see. Mord has a lot of good items. You know what I feel like it is? I feel like Bruisers, unlike ADCs and some other classes, they have such a variety of items they could build that are decent. Like, I really feel like whenever I play Bruiser AP, there's so many options. Rylai's, Roa, now Bloodletter's Curse. Fuck, I'm trying to like remember most of the items. I don't remember most of them. You know, and you can mix in full AP items with that, but I feel like there's so many options. At least more compared to the other classes. Either way, this is a good item. Runes. The following runes have been removed. Ghost Poro, which sucked. Zombie Ward, which was pretty good. Actually, Ghost Poro was good too. Eyeball Collection, which is probably one of the most used ones. And Nullifying Orb, which I honestly only put on by accident. And it would automatically switch it for me in ARAM. So, let's see. The following runes have been added. So, Deep Ward. Stealth wards placed in the enemy jungle are considered deep. Hey, yo. After level 11, stealth wards placed in the river are considered deep. Ooh!
Suck some dick.
We have some dick.
My finger's so deep.
Nice. Anyway, deep wards gain 1 extra health and Okay. So, I remember seeing this, I was like, oh shit, they buffed wards, but it's only for deep wards, which I think is fair. I think that's a fair thing. Because it basically encourages you to deep ward, which is the main thing you should be doing anyway. So from what I'm seeing from everything with this patch, it's basically not incentivizing. It's pushing you towards doing what you're already supposed to be doing, but it's also, I mean, I feel like it's better. It's getting more casual. It's definitely getting more casual for sure. Either way, though, let's take a look. So they're doing some more shit. Blah blah blah. Okay, reading it out. Automatically ping. So see, this is the thing I don't understand. They're automatically pinging untracked and unseen wards within 900 units. So this is where I remember way back in the day. This is what happened. Way back in the day, they had it to where you would have to keep track of everything, including jungle stuff, right? Jungle stuff would, jungle camps would have to respawn on a timer, but they never used to tell you. And then they changed that, and I thought that was a huge change. And again, League has been doing this over time anyway. Same thing with the tracking toxicity. But this is where, for wards, I remember when they added in the ward count, or not ward counter, when they added in the ward icon, where you would disable wards, and then, or not disable wards, when you would kill wards, and then they would have the icon where if you didn't fully kill it, it would show you a ward is there. And then they added ward pinging too. So basically, in general, they're making it even more casual friendly in a sense. But either way. So after level 11, 6 cents to reveal the ward for 10 seconds. You're on a second cooldown, blah, blah, blah. Grizzly Mementos. For each champion takedown, gain 4 trinket ability haste. I think this is useless. Actually, this is probably useful for junglers and supports. Everyone else is probably useless. In modes where this doesn't make sense, aka ARAM, you gain 2 summoner ability haste instead up to a max of 50. Which is actually really good, but again, that's I mean, that's a little bit on the OP side, but it's in the game modes where it's supposed to be fun, so that's fine. All players that select Deep Ward or Sixth Sense will automatically be swapped to Grizzly Mementos instead. So then we have Axiom Arcanist, which is a pretty cool name. Your ultimate ability's damage, healing, and or shielding is increased by 14%, reduced to 9 for AoE. Takedowns on enemy champions refund 77% of your ultimate ability's current remaining cooldown. So this is basically almost like Axiom Arc, and it really shares the name too. So this is where I think this is probably one of the best ones. Holy shit. I mean, obviously Vision's really important, but for just your regular everyday person, Axiom Arcanist is really fucking good. That is actually insanely good. Wow. Either way, though, I'm sad they're kind of removing Eyeball Collection. Everything else doesn't matter. Axiom Arcanist is insane. And then finally, so that's all the changes for Rift, which is interesting. And then we go to ARAM. So I don't think they're going to do anything crazy for ARAM because, what is it called? Bridge of Progress basically just ended, so it's kind of like whatever. But let's see what they're doing anyway. Hello, ARAMers, which is ideally most of us. You know what's ironic too? I saw this post, and I think it's really true. There was this post that said, oh, all the people who are like burnt out of League but still addicted to it, they basically just go to ARAM. ARAM is basically like retirement for League of Legends players. And it's like, oh, how do you know how to play every champion so well? Like, oh, like, why aren't you getting angry at them? It's like, man, because we're tired. We're tired of the bullshit. But either way. So, hello ARAMers, we're kicking off the season with a light patch. Our focus is on cleaning up minor champion changes. And again, my whole thing with ARAM is keep it as unbalanced as you possibly can without making it broken, because it's already supposed to be random and for fun. So, with that in mind, let's keep going. We're transitioning into their abilities soon. We'll be closely monitoring the effects of the new items to ensure a balanced gameplay experience. The Bridge of Progress has been turned off, sadly. And the same thing I said with the Rift is the same thing I believe they should do with ARAM. We already have Butcher's Bridge that was released God knows how long ago. We have Bridge of Progress as well, and we have regular ARAM, which is, what is it called? What's the name of it? Howling Abyss. So we have Howling Abyss, Butcher's Bridge, and Bridge of Progress. I think the main thing is they should either have it so every game you go into, it's a random map, or they should just let you select which map you want. I really don't understand why they don't want to sell custom map skins. Now, maybe at that point it would make the game too large and too bloated, because at the end of the day, I don't know how closely they want to have Wild Rift follow it, although it doesn't seem like it's too close anyway. So I don't think that's the main issue, because usually these games that have a mobile version are held back by the mobile, but I don't think that's the case for League. So I think it's just they want it to be maybe not creating like insano sizes, which could be the case. Or it's just, I don't know, maybe they're lazy. Who knows? But either way, thank you for joining us for those unforgettable arcane moments. So yeah, the whole arcane shit is over, but that's whatever. Welcome back to the Howling Abyss. Good luck, have fun, and enjoy the new year. So the champion buffs are not anything crazy. It's literally 2% to 5%, which is fine. 5% and above is usually Riot's favorite number, so we're going to see. Diana, blah, 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 Elise, Master Yi, and Warwick. Cool. So no major changes to ARAM, sadly. And then we have Mythic Shop rotations. So let's see if they're changing anything from this. Over the past few years with the Mythic Shop, we've observed that oftentimes players have to wait a long time for the prestige skin they've been saving up for it to appear. I feel like this is going to eventually be solved over time because they're going to keep adding more and more prestige skins. So you're going to have more of a variety where maybe you'll not want just one, you'll want multiple. But I guess we got to see. Starting in patch 25.S1.2, so aka next season, season 2 of 2025. Saying this shit is so annoying, by the way. We'll be rotating the shop every patch so that the options feel a bit fresher. For now, the current Mythic Shop content will remain, so you have a bit more time to snag the rewards you want now. With the upcoming rotation, you can expect a celebration of previous Lunar New Year related content, including prestige skins, chromos, and icons. More details on those with the next patch, or with the next set of patch notes. Cool. So we're getting like a little intro of it, which is nice. As we continue listening to your feedback, observing spending behavior, and improving our tooling for the shop, we'll share more updates on how you can expect content to rotate in and out of the Mythic Shop. Even though they say this, I think they're saying this more for publicity, more for optics more than anything. I really feel like with a lot of stuff, they do listen for the gameplay sensitive side. I don't think they really listen for the actual monetization sensitive side. And it's kind of been shown with, again, everything I've mentioned. The patch changes, exalted skins, map fucking like, Nexus blow up finishers, all this other shit that they put on. I think that it's really just like, it doesn't matter how much people complain. And again, we can see it with the quality of the skins too. I think overall these things are going down, so it's really not them listening at all. Either way, bug fixes, quality of life. They adjusted Annie's queue, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Improved lead client load time. Yeah, of course. I'll believe that when I see it. Even though, realistically speaking, the load-in time is really fast. The client actually opening does take a little bit of time, though. And my PC is decently good, too. So now it's like, I wonder how it is for bad, or, for low-end PCs. It's probably really bad. Either way, the game is buggy as shit, as we can see. And that's basically the patch. Cool. So now let's see what we're dealing with the new skins. So we have Radiant Serpent Set. I said Seth. Set. So this is the new Exalted skin. I heard, and this is the best part of it too, the people on YouTube, aka Skin Spotlights, he sometimes injects his opinion into these skins, and I'll always say it, right? RIP Skin, or not Skin Spotlights, RIP Surrender at 20. We really need a site like that back, but sadly Riot didn't want to sponsor him for some odd reason. But this Exalted skin, the Skin Spotlights channel literally said this is worse than the Jinx one. And as a Jinx main, I reviewed the skin, I looked at it, I didn't think it was all that good either. But Set's coming out with one. Again, they're going to make these. I don't understand. I mean, I guess they're getting people who are mentally ill, who just are collectionists and whales, and they just want to think they're better by having something that other people who are poor can't have. Even though realistically you could do that with skill, but these people usually aren't skilled. Although skilled people usually have enough money to just buy this outright. Anyway, a lot of unskilled people who are whales are just going to buy this and think they're better. So I don't think they really have an incentive to make these skins good if people are going to buy them regardless. It's kind of like the whole argument with Genshin Impact. But either way, we have the Set skin, which I don't really know the end game of, but I've heard it's not that good. We have Black Rose Samira. I wish I knew if any of these were legendary aside from the Set skin. We have Black Rose Renata, which looks amazing. She looks freaking crazy. Then we have Black Rose Ezreal. Whoopi, another Ezreal skin. Then we have Black Rose Vlad. So Vlad is like, I guess, the big new player. I was really shocked to see Vlad in the music video too at the end there with LeBlanc. But we have Black Rose Elise, which looks absolutely amazing. If you like armpits, man, you getting your fill right there. And then we have Prestige Black Rose Katarina. So sadly, I'm going to buy most of the passes that come out, as you can see by my decent amount of RP here. And now I'm going to get a Katarina skin I'm probably never going to use because I don't use Katarina. And that really exemplifies the main issue with these new passes. It takes away your choice. Where again, before, if I didn't want the Prestige skin, I could just buy orbs and get random skins. So now a lot less skins are going to be gained, even for, you know, I don't want to say pay to win players, it's pay to lose players, because realistically it's giving you no advantage. But, you know, now if you buy the pass, you're just losing out on a lot of stuff, whether you're a pay to pay to play or free to play. No matter what, it's just less choice and overall less rewards, it seems like. So it's interesting. But the skins look really nice, though. I really like the skins. It's also interesting to see Ezreal themed with Noxus, too. That's pretty funny. And Renata, of all people. Samira is already Noxus, so this is kind of in line for her. Radiant Serpent is just like its own thing. I guess that's for Lunar New Year. Also, I'm surprised we haven't gotten the Lunar New Year skins yet, but I guess that could probably come next month as well. Or maybe next patch, we'll see. Either way, and then we have chromas for just Ezreal. That's interesting. But overall, that's the patch. So very little champion changes, except it was mainly to all ADCs, and it, for the most part, made them feel, I guess, better, because Kalista's going to feel better. Twitch is slightly buffed, Varus is pretty much buffed. And that's pretty much it. So it's very interesting. Overall, Swift Play is very exciting. I think that's cool. And I'm actually shocked we didn't take 2 hours with this. We're kind of within normal time for this patch notes, which is interesting. But either way, the turrets respawning and everything, I think this is a classic case of League basically saying, hey, we want this, but then they do things that are just not aligning with that. Whether they know that or not, who really knows? But overall, I'm still very excited for this new season, very excited for the new patch. I'm surprised they didn't say anything about the new champ. I don't know when they're going to come out, but we should expect it sometime during 2025 Season 1. So I don't know if it's going to be Mel. I don't know if it's going to be someone new. It's probably Mel, let's be real. It's going to be Mel. They have all the stuff in place anyway from TFT. So either way, we're going to see a lot of new stuff. And obviously over time, as I'm doing more patch notes, we're going to have an evolved opinion once I actually start playing the game. And I'm not going to play it till Thursday because there's no reason to. But I'm going to be playing ranked again, so I'm probably going to want to tear my eyes out. But we'll see. Either way, though, in total, I would probably rate this patch, honestly. I really wish they did things like the map better. Like, I think the map, and obviously they want competitive integrity, so it's honestly fine. But I think that overall, with all the changes, I think they are doing decent enough changes from what they normally do, where I haven't really been excited for League in a hot minute. Like this, the last season's changes too were kind of boring to me. I'm like, okay, cool. They're just reverting the mythic stuff or whatever. I think these are decently big. So overall, in terms of hype and stuff, everything considered, I would probably give this patch 8 out of 10 Marc Merrills easily. I want to give it higher, but I also want to temper my expectations. I don't want to be too hyped up. So I would say 8 out of 10 Marc Merrills is fair. Either way, I hope everyone enjoyed. Please tell me what you think of the patch. Tell me what you think of League in general, if you hate it, if you love it. And if you enjoyed and want to see more of me, watch me at twitch.tv/Tecnics channel.